Looking for an apartment in Canada can be a little bit overwhelming, but with the right tips and preparation, it doesn't have to be. So in this video, I'll be sharing everything you need to know about finding the perfect apartment, all the way from budgeting to viewing tips to moving advice. I've got it all for you guys in this video, so let's get started. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The first tip is, where are you guys finding the apartments? Where are we searching? Okay, so there's some trusted platforms such as Padmapper, rentals.ca, Facebook Marketplace, and also live.rent. But those are some platforms that I've searched on personally, and they've really had good listings. Most of them have the opportunity of verifying the landlord, so if the landlord is authentic or the landlord has passed through their vetting process, they usually have an authentic check mark on their profile on the side, so kind of look out for those because those are real. You can also check local rental groups within your area. They usually have individual landlords that want to rent out maybe their apartments or condos or basements, stuff like that, but just be careful and avoid scams. The second tip is read the reviews. Babes, if you find an apartment you like, read the reviews thoroughly. Like, in fact, when you get to the reviews, I want you to filter to the 1 stars. Read those reviews. Usually you might find, okay, well, there are some people that are just petty, to be honest. Like, we all know someone that's petty, but like there's some reviews that are just too detailed for you to ignore, especially when it comes to heating, cooling. Please be careful about those things, especially if you live in cold climate, because I live in Canada and like it gets cold here. So when it comes to things like heating, management's attention to detail or management's response time, please read those reviews, okay? They will save your ass. The third tip is your credit matters a lot. Your credit is literally the line between them accepting your application and rejecting your application. So if you have a good credit score, that means you are financially responsible. That's what they think. But if you have a bad credit score, that means you're not financially responsible, which means they might require you to have a guarantor. And sometimes you don't have a guarantor, or maybe you don't want to put anyone in such a situation, honestly, or you don't want people in your business anyway. But some apartments, if they've kind of liked you, or maybe if they don't have many people viewing the apartment, they might either ask you to pay a full month worth of rent as your security deposit, or 2 months worth of rent as a security deposit, or they might ask you to pay 3 months. That's not guaranteed, it's just different options that I've had. Or they might ask you to pay 3 months of rent at once. You have to pay the month you're entering into the apartment and 2 more months, just for them to get that kind of security from you. So if you don't have any of those, it might be a bit of a steep slope to get an apartment, but just keep trying, okay? The fourth point is prepare your financial document at least 3 to 6 months back, okay? So when you're applying, they'll need you to provide proof that you can pay for your apartment, okay? Like, what jobs do you do, how much do you earn? They might ask you details about your car, how much it is. Like, they ask you so many questions. So when you know you want to move in like 6 months, make sure you are at least putting aside a bit of savings into your account. Like, have an account that you will show them that has money or that receives money, and that you save some money on the side, you guys, okay? Tip number 5 is set aside a budget, okay? When you're starting to apartment hunt, ask yourself, what kind of apartment do you want? What is your budget like? Is it between 1,000 to 1,500? That also depends on the area that you're living in, but if it's between like 1,000 and 1,500, also think about insurance. How much are you going to pay for insurance? If your insurance is like $20, so 1,000 plus $20. If you have a car, parking, like try to put all your expenses together and see, can I survive paying 2,500 for bills every month if I get an apartment that costs 1,500? Do you have to cut on some expenses, or do you have to look for an apartment that's cheaper than that? Like, you have to set a realistic budget that is real to your situation, guys. Just because an apartment is pretty doesn't mean you have to spend all your life savings on it. You're going to honestly end up on the streets without your security deposit either, because they'll kick you out of that apartment, okay? So please make sure your budget is as realistic as it can be, especially for the city or state or province that you're living in. Tip number 6, write down your non-negotiables. Non-negotiables are those things that you just, like, if the apartment doesn't have it, you cannot live in that apartment. Non-negotiables can be an ensuite, maybe washer and dryer unit, maybe a dishwasher, maybe a gym, or like proximity to the gym. You need to write down those non-negotiables. How far does it take you to get to school, or how far does it take you to get to work? Because it doesn't make sense if you're living an hour away, an hour drive away from your workplace or your school. Like, if you're driving 1 hour, imagine if you don't have a car. Imagine if you're taking the bus. That's going to be like 3 hours. that doesn't make sense for your living situation. Try to make sure that you write down your non-negotiables, and when you're searching for apartments, it has that. It might be heating, it might be cooling. Please write those down and make sure you abide by your non-negotiables. Of course, don't be too static, but for things that cannot be changed, try to stay within your non-negotiable list. Tip number 7 is research neighborhoods. Research what the neighborhood is like, what kind of people live within the neighborhood. Is it silent? Is it loud? Like, make research about your neighborhood, because your neighborhood can make or break your stay. Trust me. Oh my God, a bad neighborhood, horror. I've never lived in a bad neighborhood, thank God, but research about your neighborhood. Okay, proximity, like I said, proximity, cafes, different things, hospitals. Guys, try to make sure that at least you live close to a hospital. In case anything happens, at least you know you're close to a hospital. Okay, tip number 8 is start your apartment hunting journey early, like really early. If you want to have moved by August, try to start your search now so you can see what's on the market, what the prices are, what's on the market. Like, research, try to look at all the lists of stuff that you have, the proximity, because some apartments have availability in like July, so like try to research as soon as possible, so if you're to get an apartment that has maybe an earlier availability, at least they have you in mind, or you've already put in your application. So you have to plan ahead so you can avoid a rush decision. Tip number 9 is plan for moving day. Okay, plan. Are you going to use a moving company? Are you going to use your friends? Are you doing it solo? You have to plan all that. Like, come look at the apartment and take pictures. Guys, take pictures of the apartment before you enter it without any furniture, so that when you're moving out and they try to claim something, you have proof that, oh, that was there, right? Because if you don't, your security deposit is gone. They're gonna eat your money, babes. So please try to make sure that you take pictures before, plan your move out date, plan your move in date, deep clean the apartment. Those apartments are dirty. No matter how much they tell you they've cleaned, deep clean before you put in your stuff. Tip number 10 is try to order your furniture early, okay? Because furniture takes like 3 months, okay? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. 3 months without you sleeping on a bed. If you know you're moving in like March, you have the whole of Feb to start buying those heavier materials, those heavier things that you cannot live without in your house, so that when it's time for you to move into your new place, at least you have a bed, at least you have a mattress, like all those things, all the heavier things that take long. Try to order them early. Tip number 11 is understand your security deposit. How much is it? Where is that money going? Understand it. Ask questions, okay, about your security deposit, and make sure once you send it, you receive a receipt that shows that it's paid. If it's a physical receipt, take a picture. If it's an email receipt, well and good, save it, because sometimes they can claim that you didn't give the security deposit, and if you don't have proof of that, how are you going to defend yourself? You can't. Tip number 12 is before you sign the lease, make sure you thoroughly read the lease. Make sure you understand what you've read, and whatever you have not understood, ask. Don't just blindly sign it. There's so much that can be hidden within a lease that you know nothing about. Okay, you can be tied in a 2-year lease. What are you going to do? Maybe you want to do 1 year in each apartment. What are you going to do if you are in a 2-year lease? There's not much you can do, honestly, because you signed it. Once you sign that lease, it's over for you. Okay, so you read, understand, ask questions, understand just to read again. Tip number 13 is when you're viewing apartments, please make sure you look at everything in the apartment. Try to look in the different crevices for mold, because when you sign that lease, you've signed the mold, okay? You've signed your living nanny mold, okay? Make sure you check the water pressure. How is the water pressure? Try to turn on the AC. Is it loud? Is it sweet? If you're okay with white noise, then you might be good with a loud AC. But if you don't like noise when you're asleep, and a loud AC might be a deal breaker for you, babes. Like, okay, so just make sure you look at everything. Turn on the lights. Do they turn on? Go to the bathroom. Is it okay? How are the handles? Are they loose? Are they, like, research everything. And if there's someone living within that apartment, ask them, are they going to repaint the walls? Are they going to change out different things? Like, talk to them, ask them what their plans are, so you can be mentally ready. Because sometimes when you view an apartment that has someone in it, it looks ugh, okay? But just ask as many questions when you're viewing. Ask, and make sure that you look at everything. And that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Honestly, apartment hunting in Canada tends to be tricky, but I hope with these tricks and tips and advice that it's going to be a bit smoother for you, whether you're new in the country or maybe moving to a different city. I really do hope it just alleviates that stress that you had while apartment hunting within Canada. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Bye guys.